In traditional finance, taking a step back, I would say that usually the typical players are the banks and the clearinghouses who kind of own the rails, being the settlement systems, custody, and the entire infrastructure. And we kind of, as users and participants, just use what was built, and it's on their terms. I think what DeFi changes is that the rails themselves can be owned collectively by the people that use it, and rather than being owned by a handful of institutions, which is what we are kind of used to as a society in traditional finance. I think that when you think of gaining clarity, it's not just about whether participants as users of these newer financial systems are able to kind of know how to use new technology, but it also comes down to people who are trying to build and provide access to those who typically haven't had access to financial markets. This is something that I think is one of the main benefits and positives about DeFi is the removal of the intermediaries. In a lot of our communities, the intermediaries are really associated with plainly like overdraft fees, check cashing fees, payday lending, and I don't think any of those functions really earn trust in communities. It's more so like they're the ones that are usually charging the most. Rulemaking used to happen really in closed door committees. I think most people would not know what decision making went into the disclosures that they might receive for their bank account, right? But with DeFi, there's open governance systems where people are holding the asset actually get to vote. And I think oversight also used to mean I'm coming from a compliance background who used to work with a lot of centralized parties. You think of oversight as like a compliance department deciding things and kind of going about it internally. But now with DeFi, it can mean auditable smart contracts in a community that can actually watch it. And I think that also goes to some of the misunderstanding when it comes to DeFi and blockchain technology. It's not that it's just kind of some hidden mechanism. It's quite the opposite. And so we're not asking to get rid of oversight when we talk about advancing DeFi and advancing blockchain technologies. We're asking for the middleman to kind of stop playing the role of, I guess, refereeing and maybe this is the person you pay the toll to get access, which is really just standing between individuals and their own money, which everyone should have access to. This is something that I think is why I think that this could be such a huge value to our community. I think if we're honest, history has a pattern. It's not just that our communities didn't own things. Sometimes we did own the asset and we still lost it because we let someone else manage it for us, whether it's, you can think land, retirement funds, the community institutions. And I think ownership on paper isn't the same as ownership in practice. And I don't think that distinction is made enough. And the old system really failed us by taking control away. And I think that this new wave that we're seeing is with the goal of not letting this new one fail us, essentially. And I think that doing this type of outreach and education and community building is what's going to allow that history to not repeat itself and for it to not happen again and for us to be a part of the progress that's happening. I think that an interesting data point that I've always shared with people is that we commissioned a study at DeFi Education Fund with Ipsos, who does a lot of they do Reuters studies, they work with the Fed. So the study found that people are majority interested in crypto and want to learn more. And then we saw that the jump in interest and openness to it occurred when we added the question of if market structure passes, or if there are regulations around it. The jump was huge. So I think that if people could understand that there is a want and a need for access to this new financial technology and like these new financial markets, and that people do want regulation, I think is the important point to remember. I think that sometimes when people hear crypto, blockchain, DeFi, they think like anti-regulation or like wanting to be the Wild West, which is a term that was used in the prior like enforcement days. But the reality is that with market structure, the goal is really to have regulations and laws in place that make sense. I will say that I'm really excited for the times that we're in. This is the closest that we've been to kind of really seeing true policy movement, whether it be like clarity and the movements on the Hill, but also we're seeing a lot of movement from the regulatory agencies. The SEC has put out guidance. The CFTC is said to be working on guidance that affects crypto and decentralized finance. So I think that it's really exciting to see the progress that we have made. And I think that this is only the first step. And it's really exciting also seeing how much people are willing to get involved. And I hope that that just continues.